Hi, so I got this GPU recently from a friend. It's a GTX770 from Gigabyte. This GPU reportedly is broken, as in still gives image, however doesn't install driver or artifacts. I'm not quite certain. Since the PCB is kinda okay, it's 8 plus 2 phase, so it's not utter garbage, I'm gonna give it a shot and try to fix it. The suspicion for now is memory related issues, so what we're gonna do is mount this super oversized cooler on it, run mats mods, well just mats, and boot Windows to see what it exactly does, and afterwards we're gonna try and fix it. So as you can see, the GPU works for display output only, but the memory size is undetected, also bandwidth is not detected, bus width and so on. And yeah, also clocks. So this GPU would not run 3D. You can try. Yep, nothing happens. So time to run mats mods. Mats is finished. GK104, that's our chip, so it definitely report for the correct card. And basically, what is the most interesting part to us is memory errors by subpartition. And as you can see, only one memory IC is giving us write errors, and it's D1. And it is failing only on bit 61, which is kind of nice because usually when memory chip fails you lose more bits than just 1 bit, so there is good chance this one is either damaged pad on the memory IC from mechanical stress or thermal stress. It could also be damaged BGA ball, and in the absolutely worst case scenario it is our memory controller, in which case we cannot really fix it. However, let's start by swapping out this memory chip. Let's look at the IC that is failing in mats now, and the order is A1, A0, B1, B0, C1, C0, D1, D0. So this is our chip. And now that we need to replace it, we need to, of course, find a chip. Well, I don't have any brand new ones, obviously, so we're gonna harvest them from that card. Yeah, before you start judging me, this was not me. I didn't do this. However, this card has exactly the same memory chips we need, so I'm gonna harvest them real quick. Pre-ball, well, I'm just gonna pre-ball one, but I'm gonna harvest them all because, well, I don't wanna reheat them multiple times in a row. Now that we have desoldered the memory chips from the donor card, we need to remove the lead-free stuff. So we're gonna mix it up with some leaded solder, and afterwards solder wick it. Now we have a chip ready to be pre-bowled after we cleaned up from all the flux. Now that all the chips are clean, I have cleaned them also from all the burnt flux. They are nice and shiny. And what we're gonna do is apply flux again in very thin layer across all the BGA array. And afterwards we're gonna put stencil on the chip and continue with the process. Now that our chip is aligned with the stencil, we can proceed to pre-bowling. Pre-bowling can be done in two ways. First option is to use BGA balls like these, or the other option is to use solder paste. I'm gonna show you real quick, like this one. Come on, focus. Yeah. And why I like using solder paste more? In my experience, it takes less time in order to reflow on the chip, and also it is much easier to see when it actually has reflowed, unlike the solder balls, which a lot of the times tend not to stick to the chip properly, and then you have to basically redo it, which causes even more heat applied to the chip, which of course we want to avoid. Memory chip is cleaned up and ready to be used. As you can see, the balls are pretty, though they are slightly misaligned because, well, genius Shaggy has of course dropped the jig together with the stencil and IC before reflow in between the videos, so yeah, maybe that's why. I mean, I could always just put on some fresh flux and reflow the balls alone without putting any stencil on there, and it would be absolutely fine, but I don't wanna cause any unnecessarily thermal cycles to the IC because it's not exactly healthy for it. And yeah, next to it we have this burrito, well, mostly. I have put aluminum foil in between the heater and the GPU, so I hopefully don't heat up the bottom part too much because, well, I'm gonna be using around 170C preheat. And also have removed the top part of the foil where I'm not gonna be heating up anything directly because I wanted to radiate the heat away, so this part doesn't get as hot as it would if it was covered, because the covering aluminum foil would basically cause a shield of further radiation, so it wouldn't radiate the heat away. And I've done also the same thing here, where I covered the rest because I simply don't want the hot air from the hot air hot air station to blow onto these ICs, which are okay, and also I don't want them to blow under the core or just, well, heat up the core just from one corner, because that's also not exactly optimal. So yeah, I'm gonna crank up the heater and see you swapping this thing. The GPU should be up to the temperature, so let's start and hope for the best. Okay, the chip is gone, so more flux, and we're gonna once again mix the solder with some leaded stuff, and then solder wick. Now I'm cleaning the pads from the bird box. So some fresh stuff. Okay, that's good. So there is no red pad, which is good. Let me show you real quick. Focus. Yeah, that's our pads. And before I'm gonna put the chip on, I'm gonna preheat the PCB once again with hot air, put on some fresh flux, put the chip on, and then reflow it. Okay, very slightly misaligned, so I can see when it pops in. And let's do this. Okay, I believe it has reflowed. Let's have a look real quick. Our misaligned chip is now pretty well aligned, as you can see. The misalignment, I simply used it as an indicator when the chip reflows due to the solder surface tension. Basically, it pops into its place according to the BGA array or grid, and that way you can very easily see once it reflows, so you don't need to heat it up any further that way. And yeah, let's leave it to cool down. I of course turn off the heater, and yeah, once it cools down, I'm gonna test it out. Well, let's hope for the best. No, I didn't test it yet. So it will be the first for me as well as you. Well, first start at least. Okay, definitely looks like an image. Let's put the cooler on and test it with mats and windows. Let's see. Yes! I have reloaded the driver, and now is the moment of the truth. So, GPU Z. What do you say? Well, I'm pretty sure it's fine because the full resolution is loaded, so the GPU should be running. And yeah, here we go. Everything is detected as it should. Let's run a quick render test. Oh yeah, if you are curious about the 4 lanes, it's because I'm using X4 from the chipset on Apex. Generally my testing for it, but yeah, who cares. Back to the test. Will you run? Yes, you will. Yep, everything perfect. So let's run actual benchmark for those who wouldn't believe, because there's possibility. This is the memory chip we have replaced, this one. All of the rest is original. Well, you can see I didn't actually clean the flux even, so there's still junk around in the, yeah, especially there. Who cares? Here we have Vantage. Let's run. Actually, Vantage uses way more memory than GPU render test, so there is a good chance it would artifact or something, but we're about to find out. Yeah, frame rate seems adequate. GPU is running, image is clear, or clean, no artifacts. All good in my books. So this one is a success. Oopsie. Sorry. As you can see, I have changed the cooling setup a little bit, so I can actually test overclocks on the GPU. Keep in mind, this card doesn't have any sort of mods in terms of power or voltage or anything, so it is running bare stock. It is just overclock within what it can do as it is, after the repair, of course. So let's have a look. Okay, I only ran GT2 because that's hard-on memory, which I actually care about. Here's our overclock for the memory, V-core, or core, sorry. So that's our result. I cannot really complain. The GPU seems to be in line within HW board results. Conclusion time. I have inspected this IC quite a bit under some good light and been looking for lifted pads or any sort of damage or looseness on any of the ball remains that are there. I didn't bother cleaning it up, of course, but still you can see it. And I didn't find any real damage to this IC, so my best guess is that either a ball has been cracked and just simple reflow will be enough, or another option is that this IC simply had, in my opinion, rare failure where just one bit failed. I have not seen this before, however, if any of you guys has more experience than me, feel free to share some info around it and if you had this happen before. Anyways, have a good one and bye!